Hi guys! Welcome to another episode of the project Alfa 75. Today's episode is brought to you by Alfa Romeo Crew. Alfa Romeo Crew is a Facebook page, a Facebook group and also a YouTube channel. Together we are trying to explain to you all we can about Alfa Romeos. So here we have the machine head. This engine head is totally resurfaced. The valves are already, the tolerances are already tuned. I did replace this bolts here for the water. These new bolts are still available from factory. They are a lot taller than the originals, but that is okay. In fact, it's better because I have a lot of threads on the head, a lot more threads to hold on the bolt, and also the original bolts are all pitted, and I was gonna have some problems here. So they do supply these bolts. It uses 1, 2, 3, 4. Another on the sump, the oil sump. I will change it as well because this part here it's all damaged, the interior, and it's the same bolt used on the Alfa 33. I will request two more. The Alfa already has a new one, because that's why I have these 3 new ones, because they supply me 4. I will ask for 2 more, one for here, one for the oil sump. Now, here the variator. Inside here is not display that it has. It was told me that the display is almost normal. That it is the oil pressure that will take out the most of this play. I am not totally convinced yet, but I saw the interior, and in fact I did not notice any play, any wear on the parts. So, but I did screw this out, and in this way I can tune my chain, my timing chain, whatever I like. That was my main worry. So on the surface it's all okay. The top side. On the sides, they usually don't clean these parts here. That is up to me to do this with a worn out sandpaper. I clean out all of this. Sorry, I have sinusitis. Now, here it lies the biggest problem that I find on this head. The head was tested by pressure and heat. It is not cracked, it's perfect. But on this side here, I still have to clean out this mess. I did clean it a little bit, and I realized something. The problem with this head, in part, was on this side. And you will say, oh, in that way, if you discovered that earlier, you did not have to take out the head. It's partly true. It's not true because it's not totally true because the intake valves were not sealing properly, and the only way to reseal the valves is to take out the head, reseal it, so do the entire job. What I discovered here is that this intake ports, this part here works on this, right? So on this chamber here, it uses water, antifreeze, whatever you want to put in there. And in here you have your intake. What I thing happened. It was the gasket that it was on here was filled with RTV. I really hate the RTV in excess, because the RTV was on here on the sorry. The RTV was on the gasket, as you can see, but it was really too much. And pieces of this RTV was in fact around the engine cylinders on the block. And this RTV will plug up this bolt, these holes for cooling. It will plug it up in other holes. So what do I think happened here was water was passing from this chamber to the intake, from here and here and here and here, and it was damaging the valve seats. And the valve seats, all four valve seats were equally damaged. So what I think happened was the gasket in here was bad. They did replace or not the gasket, I don't know, and they applied RTV. I'm not saying the RTV was the problem, because I don't know, okay? But what I'm saying is, despite that, the water still passes from here to the intake. Okay, so one problem caused another problem, and okay, the gasket, the head gasket was this is the new one. The old one had that marks on there and here, but I think it was a consequence of this problem here, because this problem here caused the car to the hoses to expand, to gain pressure, because if the intake valves no longer can hold the compression, that compression will escape this from the intake and will escape from this part here, this area, and expand my hoses and create a situation that I think I have a problem with the head. Okay, now with the hoses expanding, the antifreeze will escape from the reservoir, and then I have air in my system, and with that air the engine will overheat. The engine will overheat. So this is a ball of snow. No matter how you react to this situation, you have always to try to discover what happened. What I'm have to do is I will put my new gasket on here, okay, and I will put a special. It's not a glue. It's more like honey that will fill these micro holes. It's a special glue for paper gaskets or gaskets in general, not non-metallic gaskets. But I am against RTV, I know, I told you. But on this area here, in here, there and there, maybe I will put some. But it's not like it was on here. It's not squirting RTV all over this. It's putting some RTV on my finger and pass it very lightly just on this part. In here, there and there. Just a little film of RTV, just right here. And it's very important for another thing. It is on this area here that the injectors will spread up the gasoline. So if you have some RTV that is passing to this intake, it will interrupt the flow of gasoline, that fan of gasoline, and it will work very bad, the engine. So we have to have very careful not to put too much RTV, so that RTV does not go to the inside of the engine, and not to go on the inside of the coolant system, not to disrupt my fuel flow. It's very important. Okay. Guys, I have some bad news here. Really bad news. This surface here of the intake side, it's really pitted. I have a lot of holes, mainly in here. And now I know that the problem started in here. As I said earlier, I don't like to use RTV. I don't want to use RTV, but here I have no choice. I cannot resurface this part because the pits are very, very high, very deep. And it will cause problems on the injection system because the injector will be more close to the intake. It will disrupt my flow of gasoline. I will have to put some RTV, but it's not to seal. The RTV here, the fine, very fine film of RTV that I'm going to use is just to cover the pitting, not to seal. The sealant will be done by the gasket. And the RTV will only cover the pitting. Now, let's step back a little bit. Why does this happen? Why am I with the engine head on this table right now? Just because one thing, antifreeze. I talk about antifreeze a lot on my channel, and I will talk about as long as I need. And I am 100% sure this problem, it's because antifreeze. The antifreeze, a good quality antifreeze, cannot be on an engine more than 2 years. Let me do an example. I will assemble all of this. I will put some good quality antifreeze. I will put, I don't know what it is now. I will put the Paraflu antifreeze. And 2 years from now, I will take out this antifreeze. I will look at it and say, oh my God, this is new. No, it's not. You cannot ever know if your antifreeze is good or not just by looking at it. If you have that strips to see if the antifreeze is good or not, okay, you can work with that. What is the problem with the antifreeze that is more than 2 years old? The properties of the antifreeze is just not to cool the engine. It's to protect the aluminum, steel, and other metals on your engine, okay? And also has some lubricant properties. The problem with that chemistry is after 2 years of use, that antifreeze becomes acidic. Very, very, very acidic. In that way, problems like this start to appear. Bigger still if you use only water. The water with corrosion and the problems will start to eat out your metal. I can pass my finger here and I can feel there's a hole in there. There is an actual hole in there. Not just pitted. A hole. I'm almost sure the water passed through here directly. So the only reason this head is in here right now, it's because the antifreeze was not changed when it was supposed to. Not just 1 or 2 or 3 times. Every single time it was not changed. I am sure of it. In 30 years, you have to change this antifreeze 15 times. What is the price of 15 times to change your antifreeze? And now, what is the price of doing all this work? Which of one is cheaper? Even though I'm doing this at my home, this is more expensive to do than just replace my antifreeze 15 times. A lot more expensive. A lot more. And now I am having, I don't know if I will be able to seal all this. I don't know if I am able to find parts for this. Okay, please, change your antifreeze. If it seems good, don't judge the antifreeze by its looks. Okay, 2 years out. Whatever the quality, the brand, 2 years out. Everything, please.